Hey there, welcome to lesson 6 of the level 2 drum series. We're now talking about drum fills and we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna show you 10 different exercises that you can add again to your inventory. Just like our last drum beats part, we're gonna add some more drum fills. These drum fills are a little harder than our level 1 series, a little more intermediate, I would say. And they're great to use. You can pull out any single time and you can kind of morph them to fit the mold of whatever kind of music that you're going to be playing. There is literally thousands of different drum fills that you can do. Some are really short, some are the medium length, and some are super long, and sometimes unnecessary when they're that long, but they're great because they add a little bit of flash to your playing. Although music shouldn't always just be drum fills all the time. Some of the greatest drummers of all time, like Neil Peart, or even the Travis Barker, and some of the other ones that are around, often are the showcase to bands. They're like people come to the band and come to their concerts to watch the drummer for some great things like drum fills and things like that. And even some of your favorite songs might have an iconic drum fill in it that you might remember and connect with. That's not what we're doing here. Drum fills are used as a nice little transition piece to add an exclamation point or a little bit of a flash to an already good drum beat, a good foundation solid drummer. Ideally, these drum fills are going to be practiced on a drum kit, although you can practice it kind of air drumming, but ideally it would be best to be played on a drum kit. And each of these exercises today are going to be using the 4/4 rock beat to get into it. The 4/4 rock beat is just a typical kick and snare, kick on 1 and 3, snare on 2 and 4, and an 8th note pattern playing on the hi-hat. So just keep that in mind. And every single one is going to end with a crash cymbal, and I'll get there in a second. Now, before I get started, some good coaching tips I want to give you to help your success at all of these. It's a good idea, of course, to do a warm-up before you attempt all of these drum fills. You want to be very warmed up. You want your brain activated and fired up, and is able to make quick decisions and react quickly. If your brain's feeling a little foggy or slow before we get started, or you're feeling a little tired, it's a good idea to get a physical warm-up in and a mental warm-up before you attack some of these drum fills. Keep that in mind. It's also really important that you have a really loose grip as you play. You don't want to be super tight and gripping and going around the kit. You want to be nice and loose and relaxed. Very, very important for all of that. Technique is really important in all drumming. We always want to make sure we reinforce good, correct drum technique with our hands and our feet. So play with good, correct finger and hand technique as you play, and that's going to make your drum fills a lot easier to play. You'll notice it's very easy to play when you're not so tense and you're using good technique. Really important. Also, make sure that you're aiming for the center of each of the drums as well. By hitting on the edge of the drum or missing and hitting the rims, you're going to be, the sound of the drum fill and sound of the drums is going to be affected tremendously. So make sure you aim for the center as you play. That's a really good, important tip for that. I know that some drum times when we're playing the drums, we really want to go fast, and going fast is like super flashy, especially with drum fills. Control is definitely more important than speed though. If you're out of control and going around the kit, chances are you're going to hit a lot of you're going to miss a lot of the drums. You're going to miss a lot of the things. It's not going to seem to make any sense, and you're going to feel not as confident. So having control over what you do is really important. That being said though, I'm going to be showing you 10 drum fills today, and on paper, according to the sheet music, if you play them exactly what's on as the sheet music says, you will execute the fill. Now, as a fan, or if you are in the crowd watching someone drum, if you don't play the sheet music perfectly, let's say you miss 1 or 2 little things, chances are the people that are listening to you probably won't even notice. You'll never hear a fan go, "Oh man, did you hear that? Did you hear that drummer miss that note? Oh, that's embarrassing." That never happens. And usually most drummers who are playing drums will not have like their sheet music right in front of them to follow along with and play along to. That's not realistic. That's not improv, and that doesn't really help with the flow. What is important though is to have control over coming back to the beat and having that solid foundation. If you do a drum fill and you don't get that hit, that kick and crash on the one of the next beat after the drum fit's finished, if you don't transition back to that drum beat, it's going to be audibly bad, I guess I would say. It wouldn't sound good. It would be noticeable to the ear. So whatever you do, if you adjust or if you make a mistake following along with the drum fills, it's not a big deal. It really isn't a big deal. But what is a big deal is not coming back to the beat on time. Okay, you need to make sure you're back on time. And so today during the exercises, I'm going to show you kind of something that you can make sure you do to make sure you're back on time. Okay, and that's adding a crash cymbal toward the end of every single one. How you practice all of these drum fills is practice them on a loop. You can play a typical beat, and it doesn't have to be a typical rock beat on a hi-hat. You can take your hand and move it over to the ride cymbal. You can play on the floor tom. You can play a thrash and crash kind of pattern. You can play any drum beat you want to in tempo, but make sure the drum fill also matches the tempo that your drum beat is. All right, so you can play it for usually a period of time. Maybe you pick one drum fill and drum beat, and you just kind of loop them over and over and over again, and you kind of play them until it starts to feel comfortable and natural. Sometimes you could take 2 or 3 drum fills and rotate them through. Maybe you play to a drumless track and you try to implement the drum fills that you learned today into it and see if they fit. Not every drum fill probably fits in every single riff of guitar or music, but you'll be able to see and feel which one does and which one doesn't. So today I'm going to be adding to your inventory and your library of drum fills that you can add. Here are some of the cymbals that you may be seeing on some of the sheet music. On the left-hand side, we have, of course, our crash cymbal. And our crash cymbal, I have quite a few crash cymbals, and you might have more or less crash cymbals. But a crash cymbal is going to sound like this. We have our hi-hat, which sounds like this. Or it could be an open hi-hat, and an open hi-hat has a circle usually over top. An open hi-hat sounds like this. Okay. A rack tom. Some people also call it the high tom. I'll move my papers. The snare drum. The center of the universe, the most played part of the drums. The floor tom. And I mean, I have 2 floor toms, so in the sheet music, there is a difference between each of them, but according to this sheet music, I'm not going to implement that way. So you could play either or floor tom. And same with the rack toms. If you have 2 rack toms, you could just switch one for the other, both interchangeable. And lastly, of course, the bass drum, the note that is at the very bottom. Okay, so those are our notes that we're going to be seeing and hearing throughout the entire part. Now, I have here my paper, my exercises to follow along with as I'm teaching these. If you don't have these printed out yet, definitely highly recommend that you do that so that you have something to follow along with and you can write notes on and so on. You'll notice at the top, I also have those beats per minute, just as I usually do. I have the beats per minute here for all the way from 60 all the way to 120 beats per minute. Those are just some recommendations for speed. Always start slow and gradually work your way bigger. I'm going by increments of 5 beats per minute to make it a little bit faster. If you want to go less than that, you absolutely can. You can go 1 beat per minute, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. That's totally okay. Sometimes you might even find it challenging to play it these drum beats and drum fills at a slower speed. But I find that playing them at a slower speed really checks your understanding of what note comes where and what note goes next. It really challenges your thinking. So I highly recommend that you start from and follow that process. Start slow and gradually work your way higher. Now, for demonstration purposes today, I'm going to be playing these drum beats and drum fills at 2 different speeds. I'm going to be playing at 60 beats per minute and 100 beats per minute. So 60 and 100 is what I'll be demonstrating. And I'll play them for a couple times in a row so that it feels good. I'll probably play them like 4 to 8 times, depending on the length of the drum beat in itself. But I'm just going to kind of play it until it feels right. I'll go through very slowly what it sounds like at the start and give you a little bit of instruction, and then I'll get right to playing. So we have 10 of them all ready to go. Let's get started with drum fill number 1. Drum fill number 1 involves 16th notes, all played on the snare drum. And you'll notice those little arrows above some of the notes. Those are some accent notes. Okay, so the accent notes is like an exclamation point. They are going to be played with the kick drum at the same time as the snare to add a little extra oomph to it. Okay, so I'm playing it nice and slow. This is what it's going to sound like. Okay, now at the end of every single drum fill, this is important, really important that you remember this. I would really, as you cycle back to the start of the exercise or as you transition out of the drum fill, it's really important that one thing I want you to do is do a kick and a crash at the same time. It sounds like this. Okay, that is going to indicate the start of the next beat. That is beat 1 of the drum beat that follows it, transitioning back. If you can make sure that kick and crash come in the right place, it's not going to sound bad. It's going to sound like it was meant to be. Okay, that's what I meant by making sure you're in control and making sure you're on time. If you don't get that right, you're gonna notice it. Okay, then people around you will be able to notice it. So let's play that drum fill nice and slow with the crash cymbal. Okay, notice where the accents come. You're gonna need to kind of remember your counting. Okay, and remember, kind of notice how it goes. Try to connect with the sound of the fill to make a good connection. So here's what the drum fill sounds like, nice and slow. Okay, let's play to a metronome now. So we're going to be playing it at 60 beats per minute, and then I'll pause and I'll change the speed to 100 beats per minute. I'm going to play exactly what's on the paper here, but in case you've kind of mess up a little bit with playing exactly what's on the paper, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Remember that, not a big deal. If you want to play the drum beat a little extra before you jump into the drum fill, that's totally okay. You want to play what feels natural, but also in time and in counting. Okay, so it's 4/4 time, so we'll be counting. It's usually in groups of 4, where the drum fill would be on the 4th one. But for these exercises, just in terms of paper space, I just did it short. So I'll play exactly what's on the paper. So let's play 60 beats per minute. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's speed it up to 100 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that is 100 beats per minute of drum fill number 1. Let's move on to drum fill number 2. Drum fill number 2 is all 16th notes, and it involves 2 hits on the floor tom, followed by 2 kicks. So, and then it goes 2 hits on the floor tom, 2 hits on the kick, 2 hits on the rack tom, 2 hits on the kick, and then snare, snare, rack, rack. So this is what it sounds like, nice and slow. And then I end with a crash and a kick, okay? So let's play it again. Okay, again. All right, let's play this to a metronome, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's have some fun. Speed it up to 100 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that is drum fill number 2. That's a pretty fun one. Let's move on to drum fill number 3. Drum fill number 3 is involving, it's 2 beats worth of some 16th notes, and it's involving 2 flams and some kicks. Okay, 2 flams and some kicks. So it's going to be like a buttum, bum, bum, buttum, buttum. So it starts with a flam, kick, and then it's going to move your rack tom and a floor tom together. Then it's going to come back to a flam, kick, and then 2 hits on the snare, followed by a kick and crash. So all together, it's going to sound like this. Followed by a kick and crash. One more time, I'll add the kick and crash this time. Faster. All right, let's do it at a metronome speed, 60 beats per minute. Here we go. One, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do 100 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Let's move to drum fill number 4. Drum fill number 4 is, again, only using 2 beats worth of time. There are some 30-second notes in this one, which means very, very fast playing, and then followed by a kick. So really, they're in groups of 3. You can see there's like a group of 30-second notes followed by a kick. So the first one is a snare. That's how fast it is. Okay, right, left kick. The second one is going to be a rack tom and kick, floor tom and kick, and followed by a flam. Okay, and then at the end, of course, kick and crash. So here's what it sounds like all together. Okay, a little bit faster. All right, so that's what it kind of sounds like. Let's do drum fill number 4 at tempo. 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's speed it up. 100 beats per minute, drum fill number 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that one starts to sound really flashy at faster speeds, and that was only 100 beats per minute. So pretty cool fill to add to your inventory. Let's go to drum fill number 5. This one is definitely a bit of a challenge, so pay attention carefully. I wrote in the sticking there because that's going to help you as you move around the drum. It's important that we get the sticking correct so that we end up going right at the last 4 notes are right, left down the toms. Dun, 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 dun. It's important we get it right, left, because if we go left, right, then I have to cross my hand over to do the next left, and that's not going to work. It's better to go right, left, versus left, right, left, right. Okay, so crossed over. Try not to get all tangled up. Okay, so the notes, if I'm just looking at the drum fill itself, it's going to be a kick and a hi-hat together. Okay, kick, hi-hat together, left, and then a left again. Now it's 30 seconds out. Okay, so the first little bar goes like the first little section of note there goes like this. Okay, left, right, left, and then down the toms. Right, left, down the toms. Okay, so all together. Now I decided to hit the crash over here because my right hand was already over here. It just felt natural to do that. So feel free to adjust as you need. All right, let's take this one nice and slow, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's see what this thing can do at 100 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Practicing your left-hand doubles will definitely help that fill especially. Okay, let's go to drum fill number 6. Drum fill number 6. Oh, one of my favorites. One of my favorites. It's a classic one. Okay, so drum fill, this one is going to involve, the last one is 4 beats of time. Notice the pattern. Right, left, kick, kick. Right, left, kick, kick. Okay, that does it twice, and it ends with bum, 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 bum on the snare. So it's going to be right on the snare, left on the rack tom, right, left on the floor tom, kick, kick. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Again. Faster. Let's take this at 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what's next. 100 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's switch to drum fill number 7. Drum fill number 7 is involving 4 counts of time, all 16 notes. Notice I put the sticking at the top there, and there's a reason why. You'll see. There's like 2 lefts in a row a couple times on the snare drum. So it starts with the rack tom on the right. So right, left on the snare, right on the floor tom, and then left again. So it sounds like this. And then left again. Right on the same pattern, looks like right on the floor, rack tom, left on snare. And then one more time. All right, so let's put it all together nice and slow. This is what it'll sound like. All right, let's try it again. Faster. Even faster. Okay, let's try it at tempo, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go faster at 100 beats per minute. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, drum fill number 8. We're moving on now. This one is 4 counts of time, and I wrote the stickings in there, but here's the sticking you need to remember. Right, left, kick. Right, left, kick, okay? Right, left, kick. Right hand, kick. All right, that's what you have to remember. You do right, left, kick 4 times in this, and ends with a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the snare, okay? Snare, right hand on snare, left hand on rack tom, followed by kick. And then simply switch hands. Switch hands. Switch hands. And then 4 hits on the snare. And then followed by a crash. So put it all together. Remember, right hand, start with cut. Okay, try that again. One more time. All right, so let's try it to tempo, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see how fun this gets at 100 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can imagine how cool it gets even faster than that. So fun one to play with. Let's work on number 9 now. We're on number 9. 2 more to go. Number 9 is involving back to our flams. And we have a kind of a combination of some 16th notes and some 8th notes. Okay? So it's going to be sounding like kind of like a shotgun being cocked up here a little bit. So it goes like this. Starts with a flam. Flam, kick, kick, flam. Okay? Flam, kick, kick, flam. Okay? Flam, kick, kick, flam, kick. That's what it'll be. Flam, kick, flam, kick. Okay? Flam, kick, flam, kick. And then it's going to go 2 hits on the snare. And then you'll notice at the end, it kind of goes around. It goes snare, snare, rack tom, floor tom. Okay? I suggest left, right, left, right. okay, rather than right, left, because if I go right, left, and again, I get twisted up. Dun, 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 dun. Left, left, right, okay? So all together. Let's play at a tempo, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 100 beats per minute. Let's do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's beat number 9. Fun fact about that beat, actually, it inspired me from the Nirvana "Smells Like Teen Spirit." It's actually the same kind of pattern, except after the flam, I hit the hi-hat. So it might sound like this. That's actually from the Nirvana "Smells Like Teen Spirit." That's where I got inspired to make that drum fill from. So, fun fact for you. All right, let's look at our last drum fill number 10. Drum fill number 10 is involving some ghost notes, some accent notes. It's 4 beats of time, but it gets a little tricky in there. There's a little bit of mix of some 16 to some 8 notes. So it starts with right, left, left on the snare, then right on the rack tom, left, left on the snare. So left hand is pretty much all ghost notes, and back to the snare, and then floor tom. So it sounds like this. Okay, rack, or snare, rack, snare, floor. Okay, again. Okay, merely make sure your ghost notes are ghost notes and accent are accent notes. Okay, the more you can accent or more you can ghost, the cooler it sounds. Okay, if you can get that part right, you're good. After that is going to be a small little gap and a kick, and then you're going to hit the snare and the open hi-hat together. Okay, and then close it after. So it sounds like this. Okay, so put that all together. Again. And then at the end, it's got 2 floor toms and a crash. So all together. All right, let's try this tempo, 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. right, 100 beats per minute. You know what to do. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there you have it. All 10 drum fills, all for you. And now you can learn them, understand them, practice them, implement them, and you can even adjust them. You don't have to do what I do. You can adjust them, put them into different things, play a bunch of different drum beats, and try and instill these drum fills into any music that you're playing. Improv, suggest, explore, adventure with the drums. There's lots to hit, lots of cool sounds that you can make with these drums. That's why the drums are so much fun. It's a great way to explore and great way to build your creativity. So thank you very much for joining me on the Level 2 Drum Series. And now to the conclusion.